There's an idea in education that we learn best by following our preferred way of learning, also known as our learning style. There's a couple of main theories around this whole idea, but the most popular one is VARK. And VARK stands for visual, audio, reading, writing, and kinesthetic. Visual being people who prefer to learn by looking at things such as images and videos. Auditory are those who prefer to listen, things like audiobooks and podcasts. Reading and writing is probably the most obvious one, you guessed it, just from reading and writing. And finally, kinesthetic is people who like to learn by touching, feeling, and doing. So if we're taught things in our preferred learning style, that just makes sense that we're going to learn a lot better. And most people agree with that. Let's hop onto my computer and do a quick test. We're going to do a quick test to test how well you can learn things. So I want you to memorize 10 objects. You're going to have 2 seconds per object. 3, 2, 1, go. And that's 10. I want you to write down as many as you can remember from that list. Now I want you to mark how many that you got correct. You can put it in the comments down below. We all want to be considered as individuals, and I'm different to you and we're not the same. And there's a big push in education to differentiate between different learners. But are we as different as we think? Do we actually learn better following our own learning style? Well, most people certainly think so. 93% of UK school teachers agree with the statement, individuals learn better when they receive information in their preferred learning style. A similar study in the USA found that 64% agree that teaching to a student's preferred learning style enhances learning. Why do they believe this? You see, sticking to our preferred learning style makes us feel like we're making the most progress possible, but it's not necessarily the best approach. A huge review study was conducted in 2009, and the researchers said the contrast between the enormous popularity of the learning styles approach within education and the lack of credible evidence for its utility is, in our opinion, striking and disturbing. If classification of students' learning styles has practical utility, it remains to be demonstrated. So if you want to learn how to juggle, or to play guitar, these are physical skills. You're not going to learn just by watching. I mean, how many people have learned how to play a song on guitar without actually picking one up? If you want to learn geography, you're going to need to look at a map. If you want to learn how to write in cursive writing, you're going to have to practice writing. And if you want to learn coding, you're going to have to do a mixture of different things. Let's try that memory game again, but this time a little bit different. Pineapple, backpack, hammer, basketball, hand, telescope, watch, scissors, watermelon, stapler. Write down how many you can remember. How many of them did you get this time? Whatever your results were, write down test 1 and test 2, what you got in the comments. On average, people are going to see a big improvement in their score the second time because you're hearing and you're reading as well as seeing. A multimodal approach is generally way better than just following a preferred learning style. Ultimately, when it comes to learning, it's not about how the information is presented to you, it's about what's going on in your head. People will learn best by actively thinking about problems, solving things, and imagining different scenarios if variables change. This takes me nicely on to the sponsor of today's video, Brilliant. Brilliant is a website where you can apply the multimodal learning approach to STEM subjects. Brilliant is where you learn by doing, with thousands of interactive lessons on AI, data analysis, and programming. You're only ever going to learn so much from just watching lectures and following tutorials online. If you really want to learn stuff, you have to sink your teeth into it and actually apply the learning. With Brilliant, you're able to step through a course from the absolute beginning all the way through to efficiency. I've been following it for the programmatic thinking module, and it's really improving my logical thinking and keeping it sharp. With Brilliant, their method has been shown to be 6 times more effective than watching lectures. The number one thing I always think about when I'm talking about making progress and learning things is momentum. With Brilliant, you get notification every single day to get your practice in, and it helps you build up that momentum to keep going. So instead of spending hours doom scrolling on your phone, you can replace that with a little productivity habit that gets you closer to your ultimate goal of learning a STEM subject. To try everything that Brilliant has to offer for a full 30 days completely for free, you can go to brilliant.org/Danny or click the link in the bio. You'll also get 20% discount off an annual plan by following that link. Thank you, Brilliant, for sponsoring this portion of the video. Whether you're learning to code, learning to surf, digital marketing, or jiu-jitsu, the best way to learn is not by listening to podcasts, it's not by watching videos, and it's not by doing physical practice. It's a combination of all of those things. There are loads of evidence-based ways to improve your learning, but learning styles just isn't one of those. What can happen when we self-identify as having a specific learning style is that we only follow visual learner, we only follow auditory learner, we only read and write. This bias is restricting, and it can actually result in slowing down our learning. You are not a visual learner, you are not an auditory learner, you are actually all of those things. I started this YouTube channel to document my own growth and my own learning, and this is just one of the areas that I've always been passionate about, and it's education and learning. If we really want to make the most of the time that we're spending learning things, it's better to take evidence and ignore the myths. So if you're somebody who's going through tutorial hell and you're just watching videos over and over, take a step back, think about another approach, and use the multimodal approach. Listen to the podcasts, read the book, write the journal, practice physically, do the kinesthetic approach. A mixed method approach is always going to outperform a preferred model of learning. So if you found this video useful and you thought it was interesting, please do drop a like, and if you found the activities useful, do leave the comment down below. I want to see how many of us improved the second time around. And remember, you can always subscribe if you want to see more from this channel. Thank you for watching, and you can watch this video next.